shows up at our soup kitchen in hell. It was in hell. It was in a ghetto, American ghetto, where on our right was 50 prostitutes with pimps, and on our left were 50 drug dealers. People were shooting each other, knives, mortars, rapes.
Which city is this?
Calgary.
In Calgary, okay.
Under the bridges in downtown. It was horrible. And I was told that police refuses to come here because they're afraid. So I said, well, that's perfect. That's where I'm going to, build our church, right in the middle of hell. Because the darkest the place, the light shines brighter. I mean, it's, so that's what we did. I brought 4 big speakers, huge giant cross, and barbecues. And when you bring food, people start to show up, huge lineups, hundreds of people. And we gave them a message, very simple message, a repetition of the same message. You don't have to die a slave. You don't have to die a prostitute. You don't have to die a drug dealer. You don't have to die an alcoholic. You don't have to die a hateful, bitter, unforgiving person. You can actually, God can turn your life around. He did it for me. He did it for him. He did it for another guy, for this lady. And that was the simplicity of our mission. And we end up in the papers, all over the papers. Businessman leaves business and helps poor, and street church, because that's the ministry. It's called street church, grows on the streets, and they covered very positively, believe it or not. Now it's a shocker, right? Because they hate me. But at that time, I was a hero, literally, by the media, but not by the politicians. So the politicians got involved. The mayor, Dave Bronconia, was the mayor at that time. He got involved, and I was labeled as this person that just disturbs the neighborhoods.
Why?
Because of the speakers, because of noise, because of congregating hundreds of homeless. But again...
And you were doing it all on the street? I
was doing it on the streets, in the places... That's right. In the places that no other people would even come.
Okay.
And police with the bylaw services showed up, and they said, well, there is actually a law. Here is a shocker. Because I read the Constitution, and I read the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada, which is part of the Constitution that starts with the preamble. And the preamble states, whereas Canada acknowledges the supremacy of God and the rule of law. And it outlines all different things that are fundamentally guarantees, including food. And they said to me that there is actually a law that was passed in the municipalities that giving free goods and services is illegal. Giving free goods, so your sandwich is illegal, you're breaking the law. And then you're praying for people. So I prayed for people in public parks. Well, that's against the law as well, because you're giving you free services. You're a pastor, therefore you're giving your services for free, contrary to the law. It's like I could not believe it. Then they said to me, you also are distributing Bibles, right? Yeah, it's a church, that's what we do. Well, that's also illegal because there is a law. Giving away printed material is prohibited by law. So gospel tracts, Bibles, that's 2005. So I had a choice. You know why I do what I do, and I'm moved, I'm unshakable, just keep plowing? Because having faith, being able to resist tyranny, it doesn't start right away. It's a graduate process. If you didn't stand for something good 10, 20, 15 years ago, you would never be able to stand for what happened 4 years ago. Never. It's like...
It's good to hear this, because we're going to get on track. It gives us an understanding of why you was the man that stood.
So...
Well, why do you think they done that in 2005? Why do you think they wanted to prevent you feeding the homeless, giving the message of the gospel, and turning people's lives around? Why would the mayor and the local council not want that?
Because they hate competition. There are a number of things. I told you a few minutes ago that I was very naive. I thought that the shelters and the government helps the poor, right? the billions of dollars. You know how much money is designated to fight homelessness in the province of Alberta every single year? $230 million.
So they maintain them.
So, you know, when I was imprisoned, twice a day, every inmate in the country gets free drugs. Fentanyl, cocaine. Every single day, twice a day, we were offered the most crazy, heaviest, addictive drugs.
People going to prison. I've been through the prison system in the UK. People come in clean, and then they leave on prescription drugs.
Yeah. Well, that's the purpose. Why? Because it's a revolving door. It guarantees you clients. It's a business.
This will be hard for people to understand. I've seen it.
Yeah, so homelessness is the same thing. Again, you got to remember, Tommy, I didn't know that stuff.
No, so
now I know.
to it, yeah.
I was very naive. I thought the government is good. I mean, I knew they were crooks, but for the personal reasons. But I would not even imagine how evil those people are. They're monsters. They're not humans. They're monsters. And
so they come to you in 2005 and they try to stop you doing what you're doing by quoting laws. What's your reaction to that?
So I had two choices. Are you familiar with the man Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger was born with all the muscle and he became the superstar, right? Like he came out of the mother's womb and he was fit like this. And no, it took him his whole life. Yeah. He was building. Actually, if you look at his story, he was a normal boy, no muscle, nothing. He was quite a fragile young boy. But he had a dream and he started working things out. With faith, with doing good, it is the same way. First, you got to do the first step. And 2005 was that my first step. I had a decision to make. Either I will bow before their wishes because they told me, shut your shop. That's how they called the church. Or we will ticket you. And I'm thinking, okay, ticket. I'll fight them. I decided to fight them.
So when you took all your tickets, they first started in 2005?
2005.
Okay, I thought all your tickets were to do with COVID. Come on, carry on.
2005. And I called the lawyers and I called the church. I was still part of a big denomination. All of them said to me, you can't win. All of them. The lawyers, the church hierarchy, denomination, and they had millions, tens of millions of dollars. And they said, no, you cannot win with the government, so quit. But they're telling me to stop saving lives. How can I do this as a Christian? Those people rely on me. I'm the only source of their food. I feed those people every single week. If I stop feeding them, they will die. And it's on me, not on government, because I'm scared. And they said, well, you can't win. So I'll never forget this moment, because it's a moment that leads you to a bigger moment, and the bigger moment leads you to today, why I do what I do. Well, first of all, I love God, and second, I love the people, but also it was a process that made me the man I am today. And I called the media. And remember, at that time, they liked me. So they showed up, all the media. I became international story in 2005. Russians were writing about this. Okay. It was all over the world. Koreans were writing about this story, that this ex-businessman is being hunted down for feeding the poor, for doing good in Canada, out of all the nations. And I did a big splash. I hit it hard as I could. And so I'll never stop. They'll have to shoot me dead, but I'll keep feeding the poor, period. And I'll keep preaching the gospel.
Where did you get the money to feed the poor?
Oh, well,
at
that time I was still, you know, I was in a business. I just left business, so
you're still using your own money?
I used everything I had.
You're using your own money?
I was using my own money. And then when people started to learn what I do, I mean, right now, it's a machinery, truckload every day. Every day we're feeding people in the city of Calgary.
Because businessmen support you?
Business people, grocery stores, organizations, private people bring stuff. It's a huge endeavor right now that feeds thousands of people. But at that time, I was using my own funds, and I did a press conference, and I said, I'll fight them until Jesus comes back, and so that enraged them. And they took me to court. And you know who took me to court? Mayor, the politicians, and shelters. And that puzzled
the other shelters?
The other shelters.
Who are the other shelters controlled by?
Drop-in center and Master Seat.
Who are they?